You want a solid rifle that has proven itself but does not cost you an arm and a leg? Welcome to the world of military surplus rifles. Inexpensive, rugged, reliable, and accurate. What else can you want from a gun? Right, inexpensive ammo. All of this you get with these workhorses that are now available to the civilian market. Still not satisfied? Well, how about the investment part? Many of these rifles have developed their own fan base, and they also become more and more in demand for practical reasons. What does this bring you? Right, it gets the prices up. Buy now, use it, and sell it later for a profit. That is as good as it can get. Okay, there's also a downside. They are old. Really old. No need to count in years anymore, count in decades. However, that does not mean that they do not work. To the contrary, it's not all that hard to find one in a relatively good condition. Okay, there might be a scratch or two, but who cares if the gun shoots? And Number 8, the Lee Enfield. The Lee Enfield is a real beauty. It has a bolt action and comes in .303 British. It was the infantry rifle for the UK and its Commonwealth and served as that for more than half a century. Today, it's no problem finding one of them either in the original configuration or a little bit more sporty. Having proven itself as durable and dependable, it's great for hunting and as an SHTF gun. You can have them from $400 to $800 a piece in the USA, but also in Australia and Canada. The exact price does depend on the condition, so taking a longer look does pay off. The gun has done its work in World War I and II. It was introduced in the mid-1890s and found use as a hunting rifle for big game expeditions. With that kind of past, nobody will doubt its ability to withstand abuse and to function well even in the worst situations. Not sure if it's the right gun for you? Here's one big advantage that it has over his competitors. It has a magazine capacity of 10 rounds, where others come with a mere 5. This was a welcome help for the British troops and might be useful for you too if you ever have to actually rely on its power to defend yourself. The .303 British rounds that it uses is by itself very versatile. It can be used for big game as well as deer and wild bear. It's no problem to stop a charging bear and to shoot an elk or moose. Number 7, the M1 Garand. Being semi-automatic, the M1 Garand was nothing short of revolutionary. It gave a great advantage to the American troops and gives you some advantage today. The downside is that on the surplus military rifle market, it is on the rather expensive side. It can go for more than $1,000 a piece. Not only is this gun great to defend yourself when push comes to shove, it's also a great addition to any gun collection. It represents an important part of the American military history. Its importance is in its time cannot be overstated. This makes it a very attractive buy, but also equally easy to find. If you do need to repair something, you will also not be hard-pressed to find the right parts. Coming from an era when bolt-action rifles ruled the world, it's easy to see how it gave an edge to the American soldiers against their German and Japanese counterparts. Add to this its quality coming from its manufacturers, the reputable companies of Winchester and Springfield, which are both still in business today manufacturing guns that are great and reliable as ever. Using the 30-06 Springfield round, you get a lot of power per shot. It's very easy to find and does also not bankrupt you. The magazine holds 8 rounds and you load them from a clip. That's relatively easy and at the same time, very affordable. Number 6, the Mauser 1898. If you want a revolution, but more in the area of bolt action, here you get it in the form of the Mauser 1898. Since its introduction in 1898, its action has been copied time and again. And there's a reason for it. It's just smooth and absolutely durable. It came originally chambered in 8mm Mauser as the Mauser Karabiner 98K. It was the German service rifle in World War II. Today, it's still great for self-defense, but also for hunting. On the surplus market, it can be had for a few $100s or for thousands. It just depends on the condition of it. Number 5, the Yugo M48 Mauser. Speaking of the Karabiner 98K, there is another way how you can get your hands on one with all the good quality but without the price tag. That is the Yugoslavian M48, also known as the Zastava M48. The design is as robust as any Mauser. It will cycle reliably and shoot when you need it. For a mass-produced service rifle, its action is relatively refined and stayed so even in the M48. As a copy, you make some great savings, and you do not have to worry about parts if there is a need for repair. With an original Mauser, you want original parts. With the Yugo Mauser, you can use Yugo parts as well as original Mauser parts. Yugoslavia jumped on the chance after World War II to get some good guns for a good price. Her army used it until 1964, and the Yugo clone of the SKS took over. It still uses the German 8mm Mauser cartridge, with its rather powerful and thereby very versatile. Loading is done with 5-round stripper clips. However, be prepared. There is some recoil waiting for you. The good news is, it will not beat you up too much, but you cannot be too sensitive either. For the ammo supply, you do find the rounds, but they are not that cheap anymore nowadays. But there are ways to deal with that. Number 4. The Mosin-Nagant. The Mosin-Nagant has its own list of advantages. This includes a rather low price tag and rounds that are cheap themselves and quite powerful. This rifle was the standard weapon for Russia and later the Soviet Union. It started its career in the 1890s and stayed until the SKS and AK-47 appeared. This was, however, by no means its end. It got widely distributed around the world and can be seen even in modern-day wars. It was in the 1980s and 1990s that the Mosin-Nagant really flooded the market in America. It could be had for $100, and that was not for one but for 3 of them. Today you can still get them rather cheap for $200 to $300. This value is increasing, so then it's a good time to jump on that train. Besides the price, the Mosin-Nagant is well known for being durable and rugged. There are many aftermarket parts, and the rifle itself is surprisingly accurate. It's still employed as a sniper rifle in some militaries. Being able to take a lot of abuse, the 7.62 by 54 rimfire cartridge it shoots is no slouch. It's similar to the 30-06 Springfield and has enough power to deal with anything you might encounter. Number 3. The Type 53. If you're aiming for a Mosin-Nagant but want to avoid the prices they go for today, there's an alternative. The Chinese Type 53 is a copy of the Soviet Mosin M44 carbine. It uses the same 7.62 by 54 rimfire round, and also the action and everything else is exactly the same. As a carbine, the barrel is a little bit shorter and comes at 20.25 inches. This is not a problem per se, but you might see a bigger flash as the muzzle when you fire it. Also, it has an old spike style bayonet. The prices are much lower, but you also have to accept a similarly lower quality. However, that does not come so much from bad manufacturing, but from not storing these guns well. The good news is that even beat-up ones still work reliably. Number 2. The SKS. The SKS was the gun that came after the Mosin-Nagant. It's chambered in 7.62 by 39mm, the same round used by the AK-47. Ballistically, it behaves like the 30-30 Winchester, by itself a great round to hunt deer. The greatest advantage of the SKS are that it's handy, lightweight, and packs some power. Also, it comes in semi-automatic. It is no problem to haul it around in the woods and can be used for many applications, from hunting to self-defense. Today, you'll pay $350 to $600 for one, but that's money well spent. For loading it, you have several options. You can add rounds one by one, use stripper clips with 10 rounds each, or even use a detachable box magazine. You get a lot of accessories so that you can tailor it to your personal needs. Number 1. The Ohio National Guard Wingmaster 870. Yes, this list would not be complete without a nice shotgun. Here it comes in the form of the Ohio National Guard 870. Looking for it online, you might find it for less than $300, or even less than $250. While being rare, it is not impossible to find them. However, this also makes for a great increase in value for the future. Besides the National Guard of Ohio, it was also used by the Ohio Department of Corrections. Besides their history, there is one more quite unique thing about them. They came with a very rare bayonet lug, which is at the same time the keeper for the Sing. The downside is that they can chamber only 2.75-inch shells. Sporting wood pumps and stocks, they also have a beautiful blued finish. However, if you look long enough, you might find one with a steel folding stock. What is the most interesting part is that the military surplus market is not exactly overflowing with shotguns. This practically guarantees an increase in prices of the next years. And there you have it, folks. These military surplus guns are proven and durable. They come at a great price and will only increase in value over the coming years.